Got it. Okay.
Hello, hello. We're super excited. There we go.
Okay, here we go.
Let's get it. Will we let everybody into the Zoom room?
That would be helpful, right?
Welcome, welcome.
Okay,
You want to spotlight us for this one?
I do.
Fabulous.
Okay, here we go.
Good to see you all.
You got your book?
Of course. Y'all got your books. Get ready to get started. Chapter 10 of Think and Grow Rich. The power of the mastermind.
All right. I know it's on page 340.
Okay, so we have somebody in the waiting room, still waiting to get in. So that's awesome. We'll get them admitted as soon as possible. And so this is our final Infinite Couple Book Club meeting of this year. We, yo, you love our hats?
Very cool, right?
Let's make sure everything is up enough. Okay, so you guys can see all of Baba's amazing hair.
All right, let me see here. We got everybody in.
Everybody's in here. This is, like I said, this is our last mastermind of the year. And then we're going to take a couple of weeks off, and then we'll come back and we will continue on. And we are, those of you streaming, joining us through the streaming platform, this is the only time that we've ever shared our book club outside of the book club. But this is all about Think and Grow Rich. And this is the book we've been reading. We are now on chapter 10. And we are talking about the power of the mastermind. And this has been the chapter, you know, it's so interesting as we've been going through this, Baba. It seems like every chapter before this chapter has been all about getting to this chapter. Do you guys like feel that way? Every chapter has been like the power of the mastermind,
right,
the power of the mastermind. The mastermind has been mentioned, I don't know how many times. Seems like every chapter, every chapter mentions the power of the mastermind without ever a discussion of what is that and how do you do it. And I think it's so important because the first time I read this chapter, it was really interesting because it's where I understood that how we typically use the word mastermind in our personal development, our coaching spaces, whatever kind of coaching, business coaching, relationship coaching, just general personal development coaching, femininity coaching, whatever. When we're using that word mastermind, what it means is completely different.
Yeah.
In Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
And so I'm really looking forward to this chapter because of some of the conversations we're going to have as far as the necessity of creating an actual real mastermind in alignment with how masterminds are taught here. Now, those of you who are in the book club, you've been in the book club, you will have already read this chapter 10. And probably already noticed some distinctions. So I would love it if you put that in a chat room, in a chat box now. What have you seen as far as the difference between how the mastermind is described in chapter 10 versus what you thought a mastermind was, or even your experiences in masterminds prior to
Coming
this
into,
chapter?
yeah, coming into the awareness of this knowledge, right? Yeah, because it's so different. And we do that a lot, right? We use the same words to describe very, very different things. And then many times I think it's helpful, and I know that you are a genius at this, is going back and looking at the original, like where the word comes from, what it means, what it's meant historically, because a lot of times it's sort of like playing this historical game of telephone, right? Where you keep whispering that and you say, oh, mastermind, 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 until it gets diluted and doesn't mean hardly anything.
Right. Now it just means like a group of people coming together and just kind of talking, right?
Right.
Or a group of people kind of coming together and we're gonna learn new things.
Right,
Somebody's
yeah.
gonna teach us new things, but in this we learn differently. And those of you who have already signed up for the Wealthy We Mastermind VIP, this is a chapter that is giving you all the keys as to what you can expect in 2024 from the Wealthy We Mastermind VIP. So let's are we ready, Baba? You want to get into it?
Let's get into it, of course.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so we're all reading the same version of the book. So we're starting at page 243. And that the power is essential. Power is essential for success in the accumulation of money. We could just stop right there.
You know, right. It's like, what? Power is essential to success in terms of the accumulation of money.
Exactly. And so the importance of that can't be, it's impossible to overemphasize that. It is so important, because if you don't see yourself as powerful, and if you don't know how to access new sources of power, expanded sources of power, and the utilization of power, in other words, if you have any issues with power at all, that explains why success is difficult to come by.
It's elusive, because if you, we are socialized to have an issue with power, right? It's like, oh man, you know, those are in power, people in power, those who are in power, people wield the power. If they're powerful, they should be regarded with a healthy degree of suspicion, maybe even lack of respect, or certainly trust.
Yes, don't trust
Right?
those people.
Don't trust those people.
Powerful people cannot be trusted because they're selfish. That's why they're powerful.
Right.
And that's not true. So it says plans are inert and useless without sufficient power to translate them into action. This chapter will describe the method by which an individual may attain and apply power.
That's what I love about this chapter in particular, but this book in general, is its total absence of apology with respect to how you look at these concepts, right? This will describe the method by which an individual may attain and apply power. It's like, what? That sounds like some sort of spell, right?
Yeah, so it tells us right on page 244, let us ascertain how power may be acquired. If power is organized knowledge, and it is, let us examine the sources of knowledge. Number one, infinite intelligence, right? Which we always call intelligent infinity, is the same thing,
right?
Which is this source of power may be contacted through the procedures described in another chapter with the aid of creative imagination. You can acquire power, organized knowledge, through accumulated experience, not thoughts, experience.
Accumulated experience. The accumulated experience of man, or that portion of it which has been organized and recorded, may be found in any well-equipped public library. But an important part of this accumulated experience is taught in public schools and colleges. But what it's saying is that, that accumulated experience, whether it's your experience or the experiences of others, is really the key, right?
Right.
Not accumulated musings or thoughts or accumulated opinions.
Right. And then the third part is experiment and research in the field of science and practically every other And in practically every other walk of life, men are gathering, classifying, and organizing new facts daily. This is the source to which one must turn when knowledge is not available through accumulated experience. Here, too, the creative imagination must often be used.
Mhm.
Now, I really love the focus on gathering, classifying, and organizing. Organized knowledge, which has been repeated over and over throughout the book. And this is particularly important because we live in an information overwhelmed culture where we are inundated with information and data. The
Mhm.
problem with that is that information and data is not the same thing as organized knowledge.
Right.
It's not the same.
Not the same thing.
In other words, until that information and data is organized, knowledge applied in a specific way for a specific purpose, it is useless.
Mhm.
It's useless.
Now, how, if you have the information that you glean from any of these three pathways, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do we convert that into power? He says it right there in the next paragraph. It may be
Organizing it.
what you just said. Organizing it into definite plans, and by expressing those plans in terms of action.
Super simple. So you've got the knowledge, you turn that knowledge into power by organizing it
Mhm.
into a plan and expressing that plan in action. Notice how it doesn't mention rumination.
Doesn't mess, it's like, there's no place in this sentence about getting your alleged act together,
Your ducks in a row,
ducks in a row,
dotting your I's, crossing your
Herding
T's, hurting your
getting ready.
cats,
getting ready, getting in the studio.
getting ready to get ready.
Mhm. How are plans expressed? Plans are only expressed in terms of action. And that, half of that sentence is huge, because we work with a number of people who are at varying levels and stages in their journey. That's typically where the wheels come off.
Right.
Good at thinking about, good at talking about, good at ruminating and remembering, and maybe not even good at any of those things, but wrapped around the axle of what happened before. And I'm fearful of that happening again. And what can I do in order to keep that from happening again? So help me get myself together so I will be able to even think about these things in a productive fashion.
Right. And see, here's the thing. This is all very common to man. This is common to humans.
Mhm.
It's not your fault. This is not about beating yourself up about the fact that you've been ruminating and trying to make plans and then scrapping the plans and making a new plan. And that's not the point here. So just stay with it before you take out your, magical flogger and start beating yourself
beating
up.
yourself, slapping yourself about the head and
Because
shoulders.
that's not the point of this. That literally has no utility. Okay. So let's continue.
Mhm.
When we start getting into gaining power through the mastermind.
And first,
Okay, wait, before we even get into that, it says examination. Examination of the three major sources of knowledge will readily disclose the difficulty an individual would have if he depended upon his efforts alone in assembling knowledge and expressing it through definite plans in terms of action. If his plans are comprehensive and if they contemplate large proportions, he must generally induce others to cooperate with him before he can inject into them the necessary element of power. So let's break that down for you a little bit. In other words, because you have all of this knowledge,
Mhm.
all of this the sources of knowledge that you have that's not organized at first, right? So you've got infinite intelligence, you've got accumulated experience, you got experiment and research. You've got all of these sources of knowledge.
Right.
You've got even something that you want to do.
Mhm.
You want an outcome that you desire.
And you have a definite plan.
Right. But here's the thing. Well, this is what ends up happening. You have an outcome that you desire, but it may be difficult for you to turn all of that knowledge into a definite plan. What you may turn it into is a nebulous idea of what you might want to do.
Mhm.
Right? So you say, yes, yes, or ouch. Okay.
Or
Because
you might turn it when you're faced with the prospect of that big thing that you want to accomplish. Then what immediately comes up is the internal critic and says, why haven't you done it by now?
right.
So let's think about all the obstacles that have been in our way, or we perceive that might be in our way, that would keep us from attaining such a thing. And that little bout of navel gazing can last for years.
Exactly. So what ends up happening is you take no action because you didn't create the definite plan in the first place.
Mhm.
Why? This is why it says you need other people. You need
Right.
to induce others. So this is where the gaining power through the mastermind. Because, you have heard us say this in mystical spaces when we're talking about mysticism and metaphysics and magic and things of that nature. And when we're talking about these sorts of truths and keys and codes that come through, we say that they require a million eyes. Right? And what does that mean? Well, the mastermind is an example of that. In other words, it requires more than you as a singularity. It requires more than just you by yourself. And this is the piece that is always missing. This is the piece that is everybody keeps believing and hoping and praying and I just have faith. It's just going to be me and Jesus. I just have faith. It's just going to be me and myself and I just, yeah. Beyonce saying that song, me, myself, and I. She's saying that song, but if you notice, it wasn't just her, herself, and her, right? It took a whole team.
1,700 people that are working from everything from the spangles on the dress to the intensity of the light and the sound and the magic and the smoke machine and the venue and the popcorn sales and the beer sales and all of those people working together to put that product out.
So here's it's like, the sacred text talks about rightly dividing truth. Here's how you rightly divide truth. Yes, you may not need the people that are currently around you and that you have surrounded yourself with may not be the people who are able to assist you in going where you desire to go. And you do need some people to assist you where you're desiring to go. So what you want to do is surround yourself with the kind of people who can assist you in going where you desire to go.
Again, without apology.
Without apology.
He says this in the next paragraph. No individual may have great power without availing himself of the mastermind. What is the mastermind?
The mastermind may be defined as, Baba,
coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose.
Coordination of knowledge and effort. That could actually be two different things. Coordination of knowledge, coordination of effort. In a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. That's the mastermind. That's what a mastermind is. And when you have this, when you create this, a new mind comes forward that is more than the sum of its parts.
Right. And I think, well, something's dropping in, and I think that you need to do this right now. Because you have been socialized to be inherently distrustful, because you have been taught by those who were well-meaning, they taught you this because they loved you.
Yes, yes.
Right? But they were ill-informed. Maybe they had been hurt. Maybe their efforts have been thwarted. Maybe they have been, they had dreams and goals and aspirations and they didn't achieve those. And so they thought in their thinky thoughts, if I can keep you from having that same level of disappointment, your life will be better served.
Yes, yes.
Well, they were wrong. Because that's not how it goes. This is the truth. And what I want you to do is unstory and delete those lessons so that you can take in this one and thereby put your life on a different trajectory so that you're actually closer to achieving the things that you really desire out of this life.
Talk to us, Facebook. I see you in there. Come on now.
Right. So you need to be like, you know what? Picture the person that taught you. Somebody taught you 180 out from this.
Yes, yes.
And if you picture, you can see their face in your mind. And what they were telling you, don't trust them.
Don't trust anybody.
Don't trust anybody. You can't depend on nobody.
Right.
You can't, this is not good. People will let you down. All of those things And what I want you to do right now is tell them, I love
I
you.
love you.
Thank you for
Thank
trying
you.
to love me in the best way you knew how.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. And I recognize in this moment that there are things that I absorbed from you that do not serve me in this time and in this place. And so now I am unstorying and I am deleting all of the messages that told me not to trust, all of the messages that told me not to depend on others, all the messages that told me when I see everybody joining together and they have a mastermind, let me go in the other way because the best way is to do it by myself.
Right. Which is a lie.
Which is
you
a lie.
cannot do it by yourself.
You can't do it by yourself.
You can't do it by yourself. You
So
just
I'm
can't.
unstorying and I'm deleting all of those lessons that I absorbed. And now I am opening myself to embrace the truth because I do want power and I do want to be effective.
Say it.
And I
I
do
want
want to
power.
be successful. And I do want to be lavishly, abundantly, overflowingly wealthy. Not in the some sort of far-flung feature in the future,
Right.
but in this life,
In
while
this
I am
life.
still breathing in this 3D
This now.
universe, I want power, I want influence, I want money, I want success.
That's right. I want power. That's right. How you going to look? If you can't even write the words "I want power," how
Mhm.
much you really want it?
Right.
There we go.
Right.
Right. It's like the proof of desire is in the pursuit.
Mhm.
So when you say that you desire something, that you want a specific thing, but you can't even say it, you can't even speak it, you can't even type it
Right.
without feeling some degree of guilt or
Mhm.
shame or like, even the fact that we're looking at you, seeing you do it, and other people are seeing you.
Mhm.
That's the issue right there.
Right
So
there.
you have to get unhooked from that.
Exactly.
And you have to be willing to take the actions that are required. Why? Because success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. And there is not a single person who is successful who did it by themselves.
Right.
Not a single person.
Mhm.
And even as a couple, I'm going to take it another step further because we talk a lot about the dyad. And the dyad in and of itself is its own mastermind. Dyadic consciousness is a new consciousness that arises in a very specific construct. So it is possible to become dyadic, to have that dyadic consciousness exist as a new mastermind. But even within that,
Mhm.
it still requires others. So some of you guys have, you use these, if you've been in our dyadic teachings, if you understand dyadic consciousness, most of you don't because you haven't been in those teachings. But even if you did, you've been twisting it around and being that just me and my beloved, just us. No, it's not going to just be you and your beloved, just you.
Right.
It's not. Because of what? Well, we just got finished telling you why.
Mhm.
It is not an insult to your dynamic or relationship to understand that there is accumulated experience that exists beyond the two of you that can serve the two of you. Yes, yes? It is not an insult to your being able to look at the accumulated experience of others through books and school and education and things of that nature and say yes, and having more eyes on what we're doing, carefully chosen,
Mhm.
beautifully articulated,
Mhm. Curated. Right.
who are turning their faces in our direction for the sake of supporting us as we share with them what we desire to do, where we're going. And they can say, I'm seeing that. And in my experience, based on where I've been, this is some of what I see. This is how you might want to do that. You've never done that before, but I have. You've never done that before. And you don't know anyone who's done that before, but I was a part of a team where this is what we did. So let me show you how we did it. That's wisdom, beloved. But you don't get that staying and surrounding yourself with people at the same level as where you are. It's just not gonna happen. When you surround yourself with people, there's a lot of collaborative things, community-based things. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
That tends to surround you with people who are all at the same level. And when you do that, the only thing you all do is make a nice little nest at that same level.
Mhm.
You've already experienced it, right?
Well, let's call that what it is. If you watch, and you can see this on any of the nature channels, when you see, there's sometimes when ants get confused and they get what's called a death spiral,
Wow.
where each ant is following the ant in front of them,
Wow.
and that's following the ant in front of them. and you go all the way around the circle, and the last ant in that circle is following the tail end of the
First
group of
ant?
ants. And they go
Oh my
around and
goodness.
around in the circle, and they think that they're going toward food, but really they're going towards exhaustion and their eventual demise when they get into that
Right.
spiral. That's the lack of benefit that comes from aligning yourself with folks that aren't going anywhere,
Exactly.
or folks that are at your current level.
Right,
You need
because
to have folks that are at a different level in your mastermind in order for you to be able to access the wisdom and knowledge that is present at that level, that different level of experience.
right. So there is diverse. This is the truth about diversity, the wisdom of diversity, which is that you see things through many eyes, through different perspectives, and through many levels of experience and exploration. It is a completely different way of doing things.
Absolutely.
And so he actually says, no individual will attain great power without availing himself of the mastermind. He says very, very clearly.
Yeah.
You know, some people, when they read that, they're like, man, I wish I had known this like 10 years ago. I would have did things differently, but it's okay because you found out at the time and space in which you are ready to receive it and
when
hear
you
it
were
and
supposed
take
to.
action.
Right.
Yes, yes.
Right. Again, what I want you to do, we already went through the unstoring and deleting little mini process, right? I don't want you to focus on what you didn't do up to this point. That is irrelevant.
And a distraction.
And a distraction.
Because it keeps you from taking different action.
And there's no rewind on this thing. We can't go back to yesterday or 2 years ago or 10 years ago, whenever the thing happened, when you start doing what you wasn't supposed to do. So let's not even focus on that. Don't give that any of your energy or your attention. Be focused on this present moment, because this is where your power actually is.
So he goes on to say, economic advantages may be created by any person who surrounds himself with the advice, counsel, and personal cooperation of a group of men or women who are willing to lend them wholehearted aid in a spirit of perfect harmony.
Yes.
This form of cooperative alliance has been the basis of nearly every great fortune. Your understanding of this great truth may definitely determine your financial status.
If you have ever wondered, and certainly we all have, where we see somebody at the pinnacle of achievement and we wonder, how in the world did they do this? How did they accomplish this? It gives you the recipe for that accomplishment right there. Economic advantages may be created by any person who surrounds himself with the advice, counsel, and personal cooperation of a group of those that are willing to lend them wholehearted aid in a spirit of perfect harmony.
You know, it's really interesting because when you feel into this, what happens then, if you look at like usually how masterminds are done, and it's like, okay, everybody's coming in, but everybody's coming in with their own desires and their own wants and their own, like everybody's coming in with their own thing, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But here's where the mastermind usually goes off. Everyone is so focused on what they want that they lose the capacity and they forget about the capacity to give, because the underlying principle, if you will, and I want you guys to really get this because it may not be really clear from reading a book, is this: in the mastermind, you give to give.
Right.
The more of your own gift, talents, and abilities that you extend to others, the more that you turn your gaze in their direction, the more that you're able to say, I want for you what you want for you, and I'm willing to use all that I am to assist you in getting it. What do you need? I think I may know somebody who can help you with that. What did you say? I think I saw a link the other day that might support you in that. What is it that you're doing? Oh, you know what? Let me mention you on my page. Let me share you with my people. Let me make some connections. The more you do that, the more powerful the mastermind becomes, and the more you receive in regard to that which you are also desiring to do. This is also the key to the idea that is held within the phrase that your net work becomes your net worth. That is actually speaking about
Directly
the
to it.
mastermind.
Right. Yeah.
But it's not, well, let me get in where I fit in into this little group and see what you got. Well, what you got? What can you give to me? What can you give to me? If you've ever been a part of a mastermind, and you know, tell the truth and shame the devil. If you've ever been a part of a mastermind and your only point in a mastermind was to eat, Basically, you were only there to get what you could get for you. And whenever people were talking about and sharing what was going on with them or what they had and what they needed and what they were looking for, you just tuned out. You just looked at your notes and was like, all right, well,
All right,
I'm sure somebody else will help that
right,
person.
right. Or maybe you derailed your own self by picking out a particular personality within the mastermind that wasn't really your cup of tea, right? And whenever they started speaking, that was your cue. Here she go again with this long ass meandering story. Let me
Why she always got to grab the mic?
Right. Let me sit here and here he is with his pontificating about this, that, and the third. Let me and that's when you turn your and on Zoom, you turn your camera on.
Yeah.
You're gonna make a sandwich. And you're like, well, I'll come back when somebody who's got some sense is starting to speak. But I'm not really trying to hear what they're talking about. So let me just move on.
Let me just keep moving.
You don't recognize that is the energetic signature of someone who is not giving to the mastermind. You're like, who, me? Yes, you. Yes, you. When you're not participating, when you're on the call, but not on the call.
When everything that is said in the mastermind is only about you. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you how this relates to me. Ooh, that's just like that's just when me. But it's never like, you know what, as I'm listening to you say that, this is what I can see. This is where I think I can be of service to you as my fellow mastermind member. If you're not bringing that energy in, you are collapsing your portion of the mastermind, which means that a new mind is born without you. Mm-hmm. So if you've ever been in a mastermind and you felt like you didn't get very much out of it, it's you, beloved. Mm-hmm. It's you. It's you. Mm-hmm.
That spirit of cooperation that he's talking about throughout this whole book, but especially in this chapter, is a requirement of every single person who is in the mastermind. You're like, well, when they're talking about subject X, I don't really have a lot to say in that. That is not the point.
No, it's not.
Because you're coming in with that spirit of how can I help? How can I be of service? Is there something that I can offer to this?
Yes.
Even that changes the energetic flavor of the room. So not everyone is going in the same direction. And you're not this billowing silk parachute behind the mastermind that actually slows down momentum. You actually, when all of the oars are pulling at the same time in the same direction, the boat goes so much faster, so much smoother.
Right.
You do have a role in this.
That's right. You have a role, you have a part. And sometimes when a person is talking, you may not have anything in that moment, but just saying, I'm not feeling anything and I'm not noticing anything based on my experience right now. But because you said that, I just want to let you know that I'm going to spend this next week and I'm going to be on the lookout for things. You're attentive. You're still paying attention because even though I don't have anything right now, something may come across. Because you are a necessary part, something may come across your feed, your life, your experience, in your hearing, in your seeing, in your feeling, in your being, in the next week that is for another member of the mastermind. But because you were tuned out when they were speaking and they were saying what they needed, you missed it when it showed up for you to get it and bring it in for that person because you didn't think it mattered and because you thought your only reason for being there was so that you could get what you needed.
Right. And here's how that works. Because when you're focused and you're paying attention and you're looking to make a contribution, now even post-mastermind, you see an article that relates because you were paying attention to what another member actually is doing. And you send them that, you forward it to them, you capture that URL and you say, I saw this and I thought about you. I don't know if this will be helpful or not to your cause, but I'm thinking there may be some synergy there.
You're talking to a colleague and they happen to mention something that literally has nothing to do with you. That's not your wheelhouse. That's not what you do. But you know what? You think about a member of your mastermind and you're like, you know what? I actually may have a connection for you. Let me have your contact information because I want to make sure that I bring, and then you bring it back into the mastermind and you're telling the person, I met someone the other day who I really believe that they You and them need to be connected. I can't really see exactly what's happening there, but there's something about what you're saying you want to do and where you serve that I feel like this would be an excellent connection for you.
You
So
need to
let
know
me
this
share
person.
that. Let me
Yeah.
share these connections with you
Mhm.
at this time. Okay, so this is next level leadership, beloved. This is next level. This is true wealth building beyond. I just want to make 6-figure months. I just want to make 5-figure months. No, this is grown up stuff that we're talking about right
Mhm.
now.
Mhm. So when you have a willingness to do that, and this is the thing that is so important, when you have a willingness to do that, then there's a feedback loop that happens. Because what you will find that happens when you are sharing that information and making those connections, bringing those two people together, that people outside of your mastermind will be doing that same thing for you.
Exactly. That's the power of it. That's the power of it. And those seeds that are sown at that point will bear fruit for decades later.
Mhm.
We were watching the other day this documentary about Kevin Hart and Chris Rock,
And Chris Rock, yeah.
and how they did this. I think it was Only Headliners, and they were doing this series of shows in New York. While they were both doing their own thing, they came together and did this thing. That thing and that documentary and everything that went into it was the byproduct, was the fruit of decades of relationship building that all began with connecting before. Chris Rock tells his story of who connected with him before he was somebody.
Mhm.
And then what he did as he started coming up and who he connected with. And Kevin Hart tells similar stories. So what you begin to see when you're watching these things from the correct angle, instead of just from envy, jealousy, or I'm trying to get, let me see. You're watching them from the place of desiring to learn. It's like, what do I see that everybody keeps doing? Everybody keeps showing you the mastermind principle. So interestingly enough, when Kevin Hart was getting ready to do his thing right now, he was like, I want my brother, my mentor, I want him to share the stage with me. I want him to be a part of this with me. And then the two of them together asked Chappelle to be a part one night. And Chappelle was like, they're my dudes. If they ask and I can do it, I'm doing it.
I'm there.
If you've ever wondered, how do the wealthy get those relationships? Where does it start? Like, you want those relationships. I've seen it in you guys. You want that. You look at it and you're like, I want that. I want that. The way they build those relationships is through giving.
Right.
The way we build those relationships is through giving, is through connecting, is through saying, what do I have that I can offer? But it's in a specific container. It's not accessible to everybody.
Because you have to have that experience, right? And that experience of being mentored, that experience of having somebody care about you, that experience of being in that situation where someone reached out to you and connected you with another person. Now having the benefit of that experience, now you know what that's like. And so when you start looking for different opportunities, and you start doing that same thing that was done for you, you see how this turns it? It's
Totally
like there's a
shifted.
huge as above, so below, right?
Totally
Because there's
shifted.
so many people who are looking at the negative things that have happened to them, and then they pass on that negativity when they have an opportunity to. Right?
It's like what is that, like a reverse mastermind?
Right. It's a reverse mastermind.
It's a mediocre mind. Ooh.
Some of you people in your family and things like that have done, well, look, this is what happened to me. They ain't gonna be easier on you out there. So I'm being hard on you. I'm being this to you. I'm being an obstacle to you because that is telling you how that's a meanie mind. Yeah, absolutely, Tandra. Right, a meanie mind or a mediocre mind, and that you're passing on because I've been treated this way, I'm treating you this way. Right. And that's my excuse for my poor behavior. But that's the below. The above is we see all of these people that are at the pinnacle of their engagement with their particular discipline that are doing that same thing, but in a much, much different way.
Exactly.
Because someone reached out to me and they were kind to me, then now I have learned from that kindness pays off. that making connections pays off,
Right.
that reaching out and looking for opportunities that will benefit others is going to eventually come around and benefit me because I'm willing to extend myself in that way.
Right. And the thing is that, again, it's not open to you don't open your mastermind to just anybody and everybody that wants to give to you, which is what Baba is talking about, right? It's like this is why we teach this in Curia Regis about how to choose your counsel, right? He actually talks about how Mr. Carnegie's mastermind group consisted of a staff of approximately 50 men.
50 men.
But it started with just a couple.
Yeah.
Okay, so you recognize that. I would say that means you can go from small to up to 50, and then what are you doing? Well, how are you choosing those people? This is based on, these are the people who I am going to entrust with my heart. This is another way to look at it. These are the people I'm going to entrust with my dream. These are the people I'm going to entrust with my vision. These are the people who I'm going to seek their counsel. I'm going to actually tell them what I'm doing instead of speaking in nebulous generalities and hoping that they will figure out what I'm saying by reading between the lines.
Hopefully they'll speak to me in specifics.
Well, what if you're trying to do something and you want to kind of make more money and you've got some ideas that you just don't know exactly what to do, and but you want to try to do it by the end of the month to make a specific figure doing a specific project. How would you do that? Can you tell me, Baba, Richard, and Sri Namaste, how you did this? No. You know why? Because how we did it doesn't matter.
Only thing matters is how you do it.
Tell us if we're in part of your mastermind, tell me what you're trying to do. Give me the specifics. Give us the specifics. And then we'll tell you, well, this is what I'm seeing. I don't know if you've considered this. I don't know did you look over here? Well, can we look at it like this? It's a conversation. It's not, well, can you just tell me what you did? I just want to know what you did. You can't do what I did because you're not me, but I can support you in doing what is yours to do, beloved. You see the difference? You getting it now?
Well, one approach is approaching it from a totally egoic perspective. And egoic is not always in terms of you, right? Egoic in this context is being manipulative to appeal to someone else's ego so that you can get what you would not give.
Ooh, so what? Like I know you're so awesome, you're so powerful.
Awesome, you're so wise, and you're so powerful. If you could just write this business plan for me, I would appreciate it so much because you're so awesome. And so you appeal for the purpose of manipulation to someone else's ego, right? So they are made to feel good by that. Then they'll be like, well, yeah, what's it going to hurt? I'll go ahead and do this for you. And then you're like, ha, got it. What'd you bring to the mastermind? Nothing but a pair of mittens, right? Oven mitt mastermind. You're just like, give to me. I'll take your casserole.
But here's the problem. You won't do anything with it.
Right. No.
We've been doing what we do for a very long time. And we can say it pretty definitively. You're not going to do nothing with that. Mm-mm. And if you do try to do something with it, it's going to be a hot mess.
Right.
Because you didn't open up and actually reveal what's going on as it's going on, you're not getting the step-by-step guidance, insight, awareness, power,
wisdom, yes,
knowledge that you need at each step in order to correctly apply it. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. When you're in the mastermind, you're able to get the correct application. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this, people are challenged by this because they're like, well, you live in a world. Now tell me if you recognize this world. We're describing a world where it's all about, I just need a tip. I just need a little tip right here. I always say, just a tip.
That one thing has led to more misfortune in the human condition than pretty much anything.
Right. On a lot of different realms, on every realm that statement could be applied, it has created a hot mess.
It can be problematic going down the road.
Okay.
Yes.
So I just need a little tip. Just give me. I just need a little tip right here. Just give me this little thing, and then I can just take it and I'll know where to apply it. No, you won't. Why? Right. Because you're going someplace you've never been. Mm-hmm. So how could you know how to apply that? So even if I give it to you, know what you're gonna do? You're gonna misapply it, then you're gonna blame it on me. You're gonna put it in the wrong spot and then be
Right.
like, well, you told me.
See? And then you double down on those lessons, quote unquote lessons you learned before. See, you can't trust
That's why you
people.
can't
That's
trust
why you
people.
can't trust people. 'Cause they'll try to lead you astray.
And it's like, and I know it's happening. We know it's out there because we've been in many spaces, and I've heard many people say that. Well, when they say that, but this, what about this? And that's not true because, and I'm like, you're misapplying this.
Hmm. Right.
You're misapplying this. You're misapplying it. You're
Well,
misapplying it.
well, who keeps everybody in line? How does a mastermind work if no one's at the helm? Like, you will be of benefit to these people no matter what. How does that whole thing happen? And I think, again, we have to go back to the text here. And he says, I don't know which page this is on for you, but when a group of individual brains are coordinated and function in harmony, the increased energy created through that alliance becomes available to every individual brain in the group. That's huge. That is massive. That is where, it's when that coordination and that functioning in harmony, that benevolence and that love that the individual members of the mastermind are extending to each other,
248.
that is what raises the level of trust. That is what raises the level of achievement. That's what raises the level of expectation. And that is what raises the level ultimately of outcome.
Right. So I see someone in our Zoom saying, like, asking for a map to a completely different location. That could be a version of it. When you say that, it makes me think of, there's this freeway. And so you can, and this happens, you see this in a lot, so you can use any freeway that you're familiar with, right? But you can get on it, and you could ask us, well, how would you get to, how do you go from where you are to downtown Austin, for instance? And we might say, oh, you just take Mopac. So when you get ready to get on, let's say you're getting ready to get on Mopac, I don't know where you're coming from. I don't know. And when you get ready to get on it, right? So you may be like, okay, well, I'm just going to go over. I'll take 183 and then I'll get onto Mopac. But when you are taking 183 and you get ready to go on Mopac, you realize that Mopac can go north, Mopac can go south. You've never done, so you go the wrong direction.
And in many places, Mopac is even called Mopac.
Right, it's called something completely different.
Route 1.
So you're looking for Mopac, you can't find Mopac. You finally find something you think might be Mopac, and then you go the wrong direction, and then you accuse us of giving you incorrect directions, when the reality is that the directions that you received, oh, come on, somebody, the directions that you received were incomplete, but they weren't incomplete because we were trying to give you incomplete directions. They were incomplete because of the lack of connection, the lack of relationship, and the lack of affinity on your part to get the specifics that you required. For instance,
so you have to be all in order to get the all in answer.
In order to get that all in answer,
right?
You can't listen to a video like, well, they say, I heard, how many times have you done this? Well, I heard on a YouTube video, a free YouTube video, somebody said this and this and this, but what I found out, because that YouTube video was never meant to give you the complete map. It was never meant to give you the complete directions to the location. It was supposed to be an introduction so you can decide if that person is your guide. You get it? So because you didn't want to invest in yourself, because it's not investing in them, beloved, it's investing in you, then you end up in the wrong location, and then you're like, well, I'm glad I didn't pay them. No, you ended up in the wrong location because you didn't pay.
Right. Which is why all of these examples are coming up, so that you can do differently. Because giving you the example of how it works, this is your clue by floor from the universe, because there's this is not a coincidence. This is part of the plan, that you would come into contact with this knowledge at this time, so you know how to proceed going forward to truly get where you want to go. Men take on the nature and the habits and the power of thought of those with whom they associate in a spirit of sympathy and harmony.
I'm laughing because this version of this book, this hardbound book, is my version. Baba has his version. I have my version because we both write. Well, I tend to highlight with tape. But Baba is actually highlighted his digital copy as well. And every time he reads from a highlighted portion of his digital copy, when I look down at my written copy, my hard copy, I've highlighted the same area. So it's just cracking me up that we have highlighted the exact same areas in the book.
So this tells you two very important messages in one sentence. Men take on the nature and the habits and the power of thought of those with whom they associate in a spirit of sympathy and harmony.
That's right.
That can go one direction, which is in the highest peaks of human achievement, and it can also be responsible in the other direction for if you find yourself in a hot mess, bad situation, this is not going the way I want, I don't like this. It is precisely because of your employment of this principle in your own existence.
Yes. Can you read it again, Baba?
Men take on the nature and the habits and the power of thought of those with whom they associate in the spirit of sympathy and harmony.
Nature, habits, power of thought.
Nature, the habits, and the power of thought.
Associate with a spirit of sympathy and harmony. That is so profound.
So when you look around in terms of, yes, there are a number of different masterminds that you can form. If you have the mastermind that you've created unwittingly that is focused on complaining about how the world is, how men are, how women are, how the economy is. If you're focused on that, and you have a group of people around you that are, you guys get together, and every time you get together, it's just that fest of complaining and misery around a particular topic, then you take on the nature and the habits and the power of thought of those individuals that you associate with in a spirit of sympathy and harmony. And I don't really complain, but you know what? It's a free country. People have freedom of speech. If they want to, far be it from me to stop them. Well, recognize that when you are aligning yourself with them, and in the spirit of sympathy, what is that? Well, that's one way to look at it, I guess. The spirit of harmony, I feel that way too. That same thing has happened to me. What happened to somebody I knew, or
what about people who
what about that's a spirit of sympathy that says that, I see something in there that is aligned with either my personal experience or where I'd like to go, or even because humans, we learn by modeling even that which I may not have experienced yet, but I've learned from other humans that this is the way that it goes.
Right. That's right.
So when that happens, you're in that spirit of sympathy and harmony. So that's why this is so important. It's not about declaring war against people who you don't vibe with.
No, it's not that. It's that you will take on the nature
and the habits
and how you think
and the power of thought. It is so important. It's like, what do you want to do? Is what they want to do what you really want to do in your heart of hearts?
Is where they're going where you
want to be?
You need to be a lot, you got to clean up that energetic hygiene, beloved. You have to clean up your life hygiene. You have to go for it, right? Somebody says, I really notice this about myself depending on the people I'm around. Exactly. And I'm so proud of you. That is such a huge thing that you even recognize it, because most people are deluded about it. No, nobody makes a difference. Okay, that just means that you are so unaware, so lacking in self-awareness that you don't even notice it. That's all that means. It doesn't mean it's not happening.
Right. So that means I can sit waist deep in the complaining bull of all these other people who are complaining. And because I really don't feel the same way they feel, I think that somehow that inoculates me from what's being talked about.
Nope.
And what this passage is really telling you is that it does not.
It doesn't work that way.
Because you will take on the nature and the habits and the power of thought of those that you associate with.
Exactly. And then he goes on to say that Henry Ford whipped poverty, illiteracy, and ignorance by allying himself with great minds whose vibrations of thought he absorbed into his own mind, which means that he did not surround himself with people like himself.
Because he had poverty, he had illiteracy, and he was ignorant of a lot of things. But one thing he did know is he knew about this principle of the mastermind.
So then what he did was he sought out people who were where he desired to be. And I want you guys to understand so that there is no misunderstanding here. There's this belief that because you are so amazing and you are so awesome and you are so divine and you are this and you are that, that there is nobody that's like beyond where you are. And if you believe that, then that's why you stay where you are, right? Yes. When it comes to innate value, you have an innate value that is singular and yours alone. But there are people who have experienced more success than you have. There are people who have cracked the code on having 5-figure months every single month without fail. There are people who have cracked the code on how to have happy relationships all the time that just go from glory to glory and they never argue. There are people who have learned how to create and know how to lead and who have led for a really long time and know how to lead groups of people without needing to sit on a camera crying every time something happens. There are people who know how to be bulletproof. There are people who know how to navigate when people come at you. You see what I'm saying? So if you can't acknowledge that these are things that honestly, I don't know how to do, then you will, but I want to know, right. Then you will never seek out the people who do know. You'll think that you can figure it out on your own.
Look at the pantheon of people that he's associated with. You may recognize some of these names, right? Through his association with Edison. Anybody know Edison, Thomas Edison? Burbank, Burroughs. Anybody know Mr. Firestone? Anybody
Ever heard that name?
Driving on a Firestone tires to this day? These are the folks that he associated with. He aligned himself with. Mr. Firestone was the architect of this process of vulcanization of working with rubber. And that's what led to the Firestone Industries, and that still goes on to this day.
Exactly.
Of course, Edison and electricity, there's no...
They just kind of go together.
You need to explain that,
just
right?
Just kind of go together.
Right, yeah. So Mr. Ford added to his own brain power the sum and substance of the intelligence, experience, knowledge, and spiritual forces of these four men. Moreover, he appropriated and made use of the mastermind principle through the methods of procedure described in this book. And this principle is available to you.
Are you willing? Okay. So, we're going to skip a little bit forward. If we go to page 251, it starts with money. Oh, did you have some other things you wanted to cover before we get there?
Let me see. Why did I highlight this? Okay. Yeah, this is funny. I thought he's like talking about Gandhi, and Gandhi induced 200 million people to operate in the same way. And so he said, it's a miracle, right? If you doubt that this is a miracle, try to induce any two people to cooperate in the spirit of harmony for any length of time. And I thought that was amazing, right? Because it is possible, but it does require work. And that kind of directly connects with this other thing.
That's where I was getting ready to start, right there.
Yeah.
So funny.
That money, right?
Listen up, you guys.
Money is shy and as elusive as the old-time maiden. It must be wooed and won by methods not unlike those used by a determined lover in pursuit of the girl of his choice. I'm just let that one soak in a little bit, because if you are trying to force money to come with you non-consensually, You're trying to just grab it around the neck or the arm or whatever you can get. Is it any wonder that it pulls back from you and be like, take your hands off me?
Now, if you're a woman, I think the maiden analogy works really well for men. So if you're a woman, you may be like, well, I'm not trying to woo, but you are supposed to be an invitation, which is our key.
Mm.
So being an invitation, contrary to all of the blah blah that you hear about how to get a high level man and how to, manipulate men, basically is what it comes down to. What they don't teach you is how to be an invitation. They actually teach you how to be a hard way to go. Okay, so being an
We were watching
invitation.
the thing the other day, and you were like, why do they keep like putting this forward, advancing this kind of theory that men are innately attracted to women who give everybody a hard time?
Yeah,
It was just
she's just
amazing.
constantly giving him a hard time, constantly giving everybody a hard time. And we were watching something, and the guy was like, yeah, she does this, but
Oh, it's an old man.
it was the old man. Yeah, it was in the old man show. And he was like, both women, that he ended up with. And was like, she does that, but I probably love her because of it. And I was like, that must have been written by a woman, because only women want people to believe that when women are difficult to get along with, men want them more. I'm like, I don't know what this is. So when you are being an
It's not true, is
invitation,
what it is, right?
when you are being an invitation, what that means is that I want you to come towards me. I want you to know that you are free to approach, and we are going to have a good time. And I'm not gonna, I'm not that woman. I'm not gonna try to crimp your style. I'm not gonna try to make you stay with me. I'm not gonna be looking at, I'm not gonna do any of that. If you are spending time with me, it's because I am pleasurable for you to spend time with, and I'm gonna make sure that everything about me, from the way I smell, to the way I sound, to the way I walk, to the way I look, that it all delights you.
I am delighted. Good night, everybody. Shut it down.
So this is how this works for us as women when it comes to money. It can't be, look, you got money in a headlock. Give me your phone. Give me your phone.
Who you been out there with?
To? I saw you.
Who was that?
I saw you out there.
I saw somebody else with money. What are they doing with money? Right.
You got this competitive, jealous, fear-based, struggle perspective, or you swing to the other. I don't care, do what you want. I ain't thinking about what he's doing. I don't care what he's doing. And you have that same attitude towards money. Well, I don't care. If it comes, it comes.
Aggression or apathy, right? Swinging back and forth between those two.
And understanding that neither of those, that doesn't work for men. Not if you want to be loved. No. And it doesn't work for money either. You have to be an invitation with your hand open, which means you can come and go at will. I'm not worried about it, because I know when you go, I know you're going to come. Okay? That kind of perspective when it comes to money, instead of constantly trying to.
She that has an ear, let her hear what the prophet is saying.
So it's different. But for men, you approach money. And we covered this, those of you who were in the dyadic money codes, we actually covered some of this there. If you are a man, you're approaching money with that, like you're wooing a maiden, meaning like you want her to want you.
Right. So it's mixed with faith, desire, persistence. It must be applied through a plan, and that plan must be set into action. And here's, and I don't know where exactly he said it, but this is so powerful, because he also says in this chapter that poverty does not require a plan.
Yes.
Poverty doesn't require a plan. You don't have to do anything. If you just kick back and just let things, fall as they may, you have no persistence, you have no desire, you have no faith, have no plan, you're not putting it into action, that is, well, it's like
That's on page 253.
you need.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And what I was struck by was that the fact, in order for you to be successful, there are things that you must do.
Yes.
Right. And we've been talking about that through this whole book club, and especially in this chapter.
Yes.
Doing it, the things that you have to do yourself, and there's also things that you have to do with other people.
Exactly.
But in order for you not to reach those levels of achievement or achieve anything at all that's necessary is that you don't do anything. Just take it easy, chill,
Right.
watch TV.
But what have we been talking about? Well, the power, when successfully used in pursuit of money, that must be mixed with faith,
Yes.
must be mixed with desire,
Yes.
must be mixed with persistence,
Yes.
must be applied through a plan,
Yes.
and that plan must be set into action. So, gentlemen, if you're looking for a woman, there you go. If you've been trying to figure it out, now you can work with us and we can assist you, right? But that's also the same thing that you must do in order to have the power to get wealth. The power to get wealth. Teach a class on how to be an invitation. That would be nice. Yeah. Why not? Love it. Persistence looks like, as an invitation, is that just because I went out once and I was being an invitation and nobody came up to me doesn't mean I never go out again.
Right.
Just because usually it's because, well, it's just like with money, right? Usually when you were being an invitation and nobody came up to you, it's because you had a specific man that you thought you were supposed to be being an invitation to, when you're actually more like a flower. Flowers attack all the bees, but you were trying to be an invitation, just to one specific man that you had identified. That's the one I want. Well, that's more masculine energy.
Right.
Okay. Hunter versus gatherer.
Right.
Gatherers go where the fruit is, and they gather. Hunters decide the one and they get it. It's very different.
Very different. So
usually, if you're being an invitation and you're not receiving that which you desire, is because you have chunked down too hard on how that needs to look, and who it needs to be, and how it needs to happen, instead of being resourceful and saying that I have my head, I am being an invitation, fully being an invitation. And the type of invitation that I am is such that I know that which I desire will be attracted to me. And so I come over here and I sit here, and then I move over there, and then I have a conversation with this person, and then I move over that place, and then I go over to another place. That's how persistence looks. It's open. It's an opening. Great question.
And you know what I'm perceiving when you're talking about that kind of feminine persistence, it's also married to having courage.
Yeah.
And being fearless.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you haven't exemplified that, then when she's saying, I go over here, I do this, I'm showing up this way, how can you do that? Aren't you scared? No.
What?
No, there's nothing to be scared of. Right?
Of what? Of what? It's like you go, and then whoever starts talking to you, you talk back. Instead of just being, oh, are you enjoying that drink? Yes. And that's all. Looking all paranoid and nervous and scared.
Why are you looking over here? Right, yeah. Yeah, it is so important. So important, being that invitation.
Okay, so Baba, I saw that you already had this highlighted. The positive emotions of thoughts form. Oh, you're not there anymore. Oh, here it is. Form the side of the stream which carries one to fortune.
Right.
The negative emotions form the side which carries one down to poverty.
The positive emotions form the side of the stream that carries one to fortune. The negative emotions form the side which carries one down to poverty. It's like, this is something that we say, and we've got 1,700 different ways to say it, because for some reason, people think that they can mix up the dirty water of negativity And when they raise it to their lips, it's going to be crystal clear and pristine and ice cold and delicious. And that doesn't happen that way.
Isn't
So
that interesting? Like, no matter how much clear, beautiful, delicious, sparkling water you put in that glass, if you add a little bit of dirt to it, suddenly it's unappetizing and you don't want to drink it anymore. It doesn't matter how much. It could be 90% clear. And if I'm just like we always talk about the poop and the ice cream, right?
I was just going to say that.
Poop.
I was just going to say that. It's like, look, think of your biggest, most fabulous ice cream sundae. You like, oh man, it's so wonderful. It's got all of the stuff. Maybe it's got chocolate sprinkles, right? And one of those sprinkles, you know how big a sprinkle is?
Tiny.
What if it was a poop sprinkle?
Would you still eat
Would you still eat the sundae? It's got all kinds of your favorite everything.
Favorite toppings.
It's like, if you like banana, it's a banana split. It's got extra nuts, extra hot fudge, caramel, maybe some crushed pineapple, got all kind of whipped cream on the top, and cherry. Not just one, but how many do you want?
Yeah, because I like a lot of cherries on my
bunch of extra cherries on top, right? And you know that one of those sprinkles,
just one though, you wouldn't even taste it.
you wouldn't even taste it.
You eating that ice cream? Yeah. So
Do you even want to taste the part that's not got the sprinkle on it? It's just got whipped cream, some ice cream, and a little bit of banana.
You're going to pick around the poop
It's
sprinkle?
not even close to where the poop sprinkle actually allegedly is. Do you still want some of that sundae? This is the influence of negativity in your mind.
You gotta
In
have
your
to
mind.
be
And
savage
the reason
with
why
it.
and the reason why I'm pointing it out and I'm saying it very specifically in your mind is because we already covered other people's negativity in
Right.
terms of masterminds, etc. I'm talking about you. Your mind is what you have control of. So the positive emotions of thought form the side of the stream which carries one to fortune. The negative emotions form the side which carries one down to poverty. Gary Vee said something the other day that I thought was profound. He was like, everybody wants to get riches and they want to get rich and all that stuff. And what they really need to be concentrating on is waking up every morning in a good mood.
Just that simple.
Just that simple.
Just that
If you
simple.
wake up in the morning in a good mood, well, all that other stuff is much easier to get to.
And it is possible. I was talking to someone recently who said that they had never had a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, I've never had a bad day. Yeah, I mean, I've had things that I experienced that I didn't particularly like, but I've never had a day that I was just like, this day sucks. It's just a bad day. I've just never had that. And I was like, my eyes just lit up because I was like, yes. Because we say it all the time that it's possible, but so often people are like, no, it just happens to everybody. Everybody knows. Everybody, it's just human. It's just human. It's just you can't help it. It's just the way it is. And I was like, it's not true.
Not for everybody.
You get to decide the kind of human you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
You get to decide.
And you're always deciding.
You want to be like everybody? So you don't want to be part of 1%. You trying to be part of the lower. Yeah, defending negativity. Exactly. It's like, what the heck?
People get real creative with that defending negativity thing.
Everyone is
I'm a
so
realist.
creative.
I got my feet on the ground. I'm just, I'm talking about what's real. What's real is that it's just real.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's as real as you believe it to be.
Yeah, that is your reality, your personal reality, which is literally born from your personality.
Mm-hmm.
How's that working out for you? It's just the way my personality is. Your personality isn't who you really are, right? That's just something that you grew. You grew it, but it's not you.
No, it's just a bunch of nerve cells.
You can change it.
Your nerve cells are fire together, wire together. So how you
can change your personality at any given time.
Right.
It's not who you are.
No. Never has been. So when can I change it? Well, now would be a good time.
wow, since finding your work, Baba and I went from feeling oppressed and negative to free and optimistic. And I thank you for your teachings. Oh my
Boom!
gosh, there we go.
That's the power of the mastermind right there. Right there. Because you know the beauty of that is that being free and optimistic, that lifts you and puts you on a different trajectory 24/7. You could only see us for a few minutes at a time. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, hour, maybe 2 hours, sometimes up to 4, right? But you still got other 20 hours in a day that you got to deal with. You got to be there with yourself, right?
True, true.
But when you are operating in this attitude and this frequency of being free and optimistic, man, that's powerful.
It is. It really does. And it's so funny because, you know, I mean, we laugh a lot, especially me. I laugh a lot. And I know it irritates people sometimes. I don't care. I'm not unaware. I'm not stupid. I am a very smart woman. Okay. I'm very sharp. I know that there are plenty of people who are like,
Ain't
I
that
just,
damn funny.
ain't none of that funny.
Ain't nothing funny.
I wish she would just be more serious. Look, she just, that's so fake. No, that's fake. Okay. The reason I don't care is because I know what my joy gets me. My joy gives me this. Okay.
And by this, she means me.
My joy. My joy is what our lives are built on. My joy is what our success comes from. So if my joy offends you, then be offended, beloved. Like, I'm so good with that. And let me know what you sucking on lemons is getting you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you. I've had that experience. I can remember when I was going through something and I saw somebody and they were sitting there laughing. I was like, I wish they would just look. You know what?
Shut
I
up.
just need some
Shut
real.
up.
You need to be given some real step-by-step guidance, and you just sitting there. Hell, okay. So I get it, but you know, the difference between the me of then and the me of now is that I got out of my own way, and I realized that that was me.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed to change, because if I kept doing what I always did, I was going to keep getting what I always got.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wasn't too proud to say, you know what, I don't know how to be that happy. The reality is I don't know how to be that happy. The reality is, you know, the way I grew up and what I've always believed is not changing my life. So you know what? I am willing to throw it all away because I am intent
Mm-hmm.
on being a fit vessel for all that I came to do and all that I desire to do in this lifetime.
Right.
And so then I changed. My personality changed. Everything about me changed to a point where someone who knew me before came to Baba and said, I remember you used to have this, you used to be with this woman.
I remember that.
And
People were mad at me. I'm serious. Hand on my heart. We went to an event, right? And Namaste came in and she sat on my lap and we were laughing and talking. She was so profoundly different that people were, I'm like, why are people giving me the evil eye?
they thought he was with a different woman.
Why are they looking at me like, what the hell? You know, who is that?
That was when I first started wearing wigs. That's when that was, because I looked so different, because they were used to seeing me with my curly boo, natural hair and looking a specific way. And I shifted and I had on completely different style, wigs, completely different. Like, I was a completely different woman. And even before that, years before that,
Mhm.
we were at an event when this was when you first changed my name.
Mhm.
We were at an event and it was a gathering. And someone who had seen us basically every month, multiple times a month, for a long time, came up, but they had went away for a few months. They came back and they walked up to Baba. And I'm standing there. They didn't even speak to me. Spoke to him and was like, I remember you were with this other woman. What happened to her? And he was like, when? And she was like, like, well, you know, and she said my previous name, and he was like, this is her. And she said, her energy is complete. It's not just that the way she looks is different. Her energetic signature is completely different. I did not know that that was the same woman. You can allow yourself to change so profoundly. This is why I'm telling you this, that people who used to know you don't even recognize you. So you're like trying to get these people out your life. That's because you haven't changed enough. Because if you change enough, they'll go away by themselves.
Right.
If you change enough, they won't even recognize you. If you transform, stop trying to change and transform, because when you really transform, they won't even recognize you. You'll be a completely different person.
Right.
Okay?
And so that's why he
Powerful.
says, if you're in the side of the stream of power that leads to poverty, this may serve as an oar by which you may propel yourself over to the other side of the stream. It can serve you only through application and use. Application and use. Application and use. Merely reading and passing judgment on it either one way or the other will in no way benefit you.
Exactly.
So even if it's listening to us, if you don't have any application and use, it will not benefit you. So
and then he starts talking about how people had a lot of issues because some people had made money, but then they had that Wall Street crash of 29, right? And then they lost it.
Right.
But here's the thing, when you have a mastermind and when you know how to really attune your mind, then even when you go down, you know how to go back up. Re-pour. Exactly. It happens. This is the other thing that nobody talks about. You saw it, those of you who watched the documentary with Kevin Hart and Chris Rock.
Yeah.
You saw it there, right? Going up, and then something happens, and it can go down. You've probably seen it. Those of you who have been in business for a while, you've heard business owners talk about how they were going up and things got really good, and then something happened and they went back down. It's not that those things don't happen.
Right.
That's not the key. I'm trying to build, you're building a very fragile house of cards, because if something comes and plucks it and you fall down, then you feel you throw everything away. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is your capacity to bounce back. How deep is your bounce back?
Right. Exactly.
So recognize that when you're playing this game of wealth and riches and money and stuff like that, it's not going to do like this. This is why everybody thinks it goes. It doesn't do that. It goes like this, and then you go like this, and then you go like this, and then you go like this. I saw something the other day where someone, I think the name of the business was the Success Mentor. Have you guys seen this? They had this big case with the FTC.
Federal Trade Commission?
Yes, where they had to pay all of these fines based on some things that had gone on a while ago, and they were saying, because of income claims and things like that. And as I was scrolling through when I saw it, and I started scrolling through just to see what everybody was saying. People not doing nothing, putting their mouths all over the people who were in charge. Yeah, see, I knew it. See, this is why all y'all out here trying to make money online. You see, you need to, you see all those people saying that, unfriend those people. Stop following those people. Stop listening to those people, because those are the people who aren't doing anything, and they use experiences like this as the reason why. The person who was in charge of those companies, he put a post on his Facebook on his Facebook page. And in that post, he actually explained step by step what happened and why we weren't found guilty. We chose to pay the fine so that we didn't get caught up in years of litigation with the government. The fine was $16.9 million. Why am I telling you this? Because when you want to play big games, this is what it means to play big games. Sometimes stuff happens. Sometimes you get investigated, not because you did anything wrong. Just because you got investigated doesn't mean you did something wrong. So those of you who are super sensitive, I don't even want to be accused. Well, you know what? That's why you stay small, because you're scared of being accused. That's why you stay small, because you're scared of somebody blaming you. That's why you stay small, because you don't want nobody criticizing you. That's why you stay small, because you see what I'm saying? So you have to understand, you look these opportunities and you learn how to play a big game, which means I have the capacity to bounce back from anything that comes my way.
That capacity to bounce back cannot be underestimated. So many of you are wrapped around the axle of somebody who hurt you, of that dude is not even your boss anymore. You don't even work at that company anymore. But I'm not trying to get promoted because I tried one time and then this happened. It's like at the people at my old job, they were doing this, that, and the third. So that's why at this one, I'm giving them exactly what they contracted for. At 5:01, I'm out of here.
So now you just being mediocre.
Don't look for me until 8:59, and then I'll come in just at the right amount of time.
That's that mediocre bar.
I'm taking every break, and I'm going to lunch on time. I'm taking every minute of lunch too. The most you can expect out of me is mediocrity, because that's what I am about.
That's all I got.
That's all.
That's all I got. And here's what's interesting. See, this is why, things change. Oh my gosh. Because in looking at this particular case and reading what the man was saying, and then I started looking at what other people were saying. And as a result of this, there are people coming out of here, there, and everywhere talking about how much they have enjoyed working with him, so much how his products have helped them. There's people who used to be haters saying, you know what, I wasn't even, I wasn't feeling this person. But you know what? I went into the room and I listened to them and I realized this man has a lot to say. And I realized this, and this about him, which is something that I see that men do very well and women not so much. Women will double down on haterade like nobody's business. Men, on the other hand, they'll be sipping it like, and they don't care. They won't change their minds, right? But men will be like, yeah, I wasn't feeling him. I wasn't interested. I didn't like it. But you know what? I see something different now and I'm here for it and I enjoy it. And so now this person who lots of people didn't know about, I didn't know about this gentleman until now. And see, this is what happens about the power of the mastermind, because I guarantee you he has a mastermind around him. I know he has a mastermind because I know some of the people who's around. All the people who are saying, you can see it. Yeah, you can see it. And because of that, now this thing that for other people would have caused them to shut down business and they're not going to do business anymore has actually expanded his audience. He's getting a whole new crop of clients potentially from this thing, you see? So this is the power of the mastermind, which is what this chapter is all about.
Yep. Anybody can wish for riches, and most people do, but only a few know that a definite plan plus a burning desire for wealth are the only dependable means of accumulating wealth. And the mastermind is the vehicle that you put yourself in and that you go on this journey with, and that gets you to wherever you're trying to go so much faster.
Exactly. So much faster.
And in many cases, you arrive at your destination through means that you could not have done by yourself.
Right. That's the power of the mastermind. You literally can't do it by yourself. Right. And so, of course, you have 16 days to sign up for the Wealthy Weed VIP Mastermind. It's 1 year with us, taking you through. Yes, you get all of these amazing bonuses, the courses and the memberships and all. Those are bonuses. The power is in the mastermind. You see? And the things that we offer that are only offered to those that are within the mastermind, right, which we have already started giving. And people are like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. Why? Because everything is not for everybody, right? So we always say we don't match energy, we match investment. And so the mastermind lasts 16 days to get it, because we are closing the Wealthy Weed VIP Mastermind as of January 1st, so we can go deep with those who have made the investment and are ready to go deep and wide in their own lives. If you want information about how to join us, it is, you can pay monthly or you can pay all at one time. It's up to you, okay? Put #mastermind and we'll make sure you get a link. Somebody from our team will reach out to you. You can also send a message to our team page directly, Infinite Life Team, Infinite Life, one word, team. and you can get information there. But don't miss this opportunity.
Nope.
Don't miss this opportunity.
Next year, this time, you'll be looking at the people who are in the mastermind, and you'll be asking yourself the same question that they asked about Henry Ford and all these other people. How did they do that?
Right. So I'll tell you, if you're not trying to go anywhere, you just happy with your little life and you just like, no, this is not for you.
It's
So
not for
we
you.
have other offers that might work for you, but this is not for you. This is for those people who you have someplace, you have something, you have someplace, I want greatness. I want more. I desire more. This is not enough. And I'm good with that. And I'm willing to do the work, because here's the thing, like we said about a mastermind. The mastermind comes forward and it offers to you, but you still have to do the work. So if you're one of those people who are always looking for somebody else to do the work, and you think that the work is you sitting in class, but you don't ever want to actually do anything, you will be disappointed. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
But if you're ready to no, I'll do the work. I'm about it.
Right.
You're in the right place.
You're ready to use your gifts, talents, and abilities not only in service to yourself, but in service to supporting the vision of others.
Absolutely.
Right? To being that person that makes that connection, that leans into the synchronicity, that says, you know what, I was thinking about you. Or you know what, I saw something. You know what, you sparked something in me, and then I saw this, and I want you to talk to this person. If you want to be that person, to fully step into that, right? Not only as a giver, but also as a receiver for that level of synchronicity. This is the place for you, because that's where it's happening.
There's things we're offering in this mastermind throughout the course of the year that we can't even talk about. We'll only be talking about it with people who are in the mastermind. That's the thing. It's like, no, see, because why? Because you have to have your own back. It can't be like, well, because I want that. No. If you're in it, you'll get it. And if you're not, you won't.
You won't.
That's how
simple.
that works.
That's how it works.
And there's nothing like working with the divine masculine and divine feminine together, because that gaze becomes 360. You get different. Baba says different things. I say different things. Sometimes we say the same thing, but in different ways. So you get hit in all the places that you need.
Yep.
And there's something about that that's very powerful. So again, just put #mastermind and we will get you the information so you can join us for 2024.
It's about to happen. It's about to go down.
Absolutely. We love you guys. This has been so fabulous to spend time with you guys. This is our Infinite Life Book Club. Our book club is available for those of you who are like, I want to read the rest of the book. Do you guys do any other books? Yes, we do. We're going to be doing other books when we get finished with this one. Our Infinite Life Book Club is only available usually to those who are in one of our memberships. So usually we've been having these meetings every week with those who are in Feminine, those who are in the Mystic Mind, those who are in Laptop Lifestyle Pros Elite, those who are in the Society. Okay, so if you are a member in any of our memberships, then the Infinite Life Book Club is a part of what you receive, and it is an additional bonus. You cannot buy the book club by itself. You have to be in one of the memberships in order to get access to the book club. We decided to place this one and make this one public because we wanted to talk about the mastermind. We thought this was such a powerful one, and because it's our last one of the year, that we thought we'd share it generously with all of you. But typically we've been doing this with every chapter. And yes, when we get to the end of this book, we're going to move into another one. So if you want to continue joining us with this level of insight, awareness, and connection, as far as going through various pieces of literature to support you in living your best life ever, then join us in one of our memberships. And again, if you don't know which one to join, reach out to Infinite Life Team and they'll find out what you're looking for and make a suggestion as far as which membership would serve you at the highest level possible.
Absolutely.
We love you guys so much. Thank you guys in the Zoom. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas. Happy
An
holidays.
amazing holiday. You guys, this is our last but we're not, just because this is our last book club, doesn't mean that you won't see us during the next couple of weeks. We'll probably pop in every once in a while.
Absolutely. You know how we do.
You know how we do.
So we'll be drinking eggnog and we'll be like, hey, let's talk to some people.
Exactly.
So we will definitely do that.
Exactly.
Anyway, we love you. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. Show love. Give some hugs and kisses.
Give love.
Buy somebody a candy cane. You know? Be the gift.
Be the gift.
Yeah. And we will see you